Two people open a Shopify store on the exact same day. Same platform, same tools, same checkout button, same 3 seconds of invisible magic moving money from stranger to seller. 1 year later, one of them is running a real business. The other has quietly deleted their store and never mentioned it again. What actually separated them? It wasn't luck. It wasn't the product. It wasn't even the ads. The real difference happened somewhere nobody was watching. Shopify gives everyone the same engine: a homepage, a cart, a payment system already connected to the banks. In minutes, anyone can look like a real company. That's the seduction of it. The store looks finished before the business has even started. And that illusion is exactly where most sellers get quietly destroyed. Think about Ben Francis. In 2012, he was running a small supplement business out of his garage in the UK, stitching logos onto gym clothes by hand. He built his store on Shopify because it let him start selling before he had answers to 100 other questions. That company became Gymshark, now worth over $1 billion. But Gymshark didn't win because the store looked good. It won because Ben Francis obsessed over something invisible to customers: retention. He wasn't just trying to make one sale, he was trying to make someone come back. That single decision is the fork in the road for almost every Shopify seller. Here's the part nobody explains clearly. A sale is not the same as a business. A sale means someone paid you once. A business means people keep paying you, and it costs you less each time to earn that payment. Most failing stores never notice the difference because Shopify hides it so well. You can run ads, get traffic, make sales, and still be losing money on every single order. It happens more often than you'd think. If it costs you $30 in advertising to sell a product that only earns you $20, you haven't built a business. You've built a machine that quietly burns cash while looking successful from the outside. Researchers who study customer acquisition costs have a term for this trap: paying more to get a customer than that customer will ever be worth. It's one of the most common silent killers of online stores, and it almost never shows up on the surface. The dashboard still says sales are happening. The bank account tells a very different story. So why do some sellers catch this in time and others don't? The ones who succeed treat their store like a financial system, not a hobby. They track margins obsessively. They know exactly how much it costs to acquire a customer and exactly how much that customer is worth over time. They ask uncomfortable questions early before the losses pile up. The ones who fail treat their store like a lottery ticket. They chase a viral moment. They copy a trending product. They wait for the algorithm to save them. There's a psychological reason this trap is so easy to fall into. Watching sales notifications appear feels like proof of success. Your brain reads cha-ching as winning, even when the math underneath is losing. Dopamine doesn't check your profit margins. That's the quiet danger of a platform built to feel effortless. Shopify was designed to remove friction, and it succeeded almost too well. It removed the friction of starting a business, but it can't remove the friction of actually understanding one. This is also why so many new sellers copy each other instead of studying their own numbers. When a product goes viral in one store, dozens of nearly identical stores appear within days, all selling the same item, all running the same ad. For a moment, everyone looks like they're winning. But copying a product isn't the same as copying a business. The original seller may have negotiated a lower cost, built an audience in advance, or simply gotten there first. Everyone who arrives after is often just fighting over shrinking margins, using someone else's idea as a substitute for their own strategy. That's how an entire wave of stores can rise together and collapse together, all within the same few months. Not because Shopify failed them, because they mistook imitation for insight. There's another trap hiding just beneath the surface, and it has nothing to do with marketing at all. It's cash flow. A store can be profitable on paper and still collapse in real life. Money for inventory usually has to leave your account weeks before customers ever click buy. If a seller reorders stock without understanding that gap, they can run out of cash while sitting on a warehouse full of unsold product. It looks like a supply problem. It's actually a timing problem, and timing problems are what quietly bankrupt businesses that were never actually unprofitable. The sellers who survive learn to respect that gap. They order carefully. They keep a cushion. They understand that being busy and being solvent are not the same thing. There's one more difference, and it's the quietest one of all. What happens after the sale? A failing store treats the checkout button as the finish line. The customer paid, so the job is done. A surviving store treats the checkout button as the starting line. The real work, the packaging, the follow-up email, the small, unexpected gesture, all of it begins right after the money moves. That's what turns a stranger into a repeat customer instead of a one-time transaction. And repeat customers are worth far more than new ones because you never have to pay to win their trust twice. Now think about Kylie Jenner's cosmetics brand, which launched its early operations on Shopify's infrastructure. It sold out almost instantly, generating enormous revenue in its first year. To an outsider, that looked like magic, but behind it sat an audience already built, a supply chain already tested, and a brand that customers already trusted before a single product existed. Same platform, same checkout button. Completely different foundation. That's the pattern hiding underneath every Shopify success story and every quiet Shopify failure. The store is never really the business. The store is just the final 3 seconds, the moment where trust that was already built gets converted into money. If the trust isn't there yet, the checkout button can't create it. It can only reveal whether it exists. And trust isn't the only thing being tested in that moment. Patience is too. Sellers who eventually get rich almost never get rich from their first product. They get rich from their 5th attempt, or their 10th, each one slightly smarter than the last. Failure in this world isn't the opposite of success. It's usually just the tuition. The sellers who lose everything are often the ones who treated their very first attempt as a final verdict on whether they were capable instead of as one data point in a longer experiment. There's a reason this pattern repeats itself across almost every industry, not just online stores. Long-term thinkers optimize for the version of the business that exists a year from now. Short-term thinkers optimize for the version of themselves that feels good today. The checkout button rewards both instantly, which makes it almost impossible to tell in the moment which kind of seller you actually are. You usually only find out in hindsight once the pattern has already played out. So when a store fails, it rarely fails because of Shopify. It fails because someone mistook a beautifully designed storefront for a finished business and never noticed the gap between the two until the money was already gone. And when a store succeeds, it's rarely because of a lucky product. It's because someone treated every sale as data, every customer as a relationship, every dollar spent as a question worth answering honestly, and every early loss as information instead of a verdict. So two people can open the exact same store on the exact same day using the exact same button, but only one of them is really building something. The other is just watching a very convincing illusion right up until the moment it quietly disappears.